We've heard calls for abolishing ICE. We just got another reason to do it.
Yeah, so this past week there was a nurse at one of the Georgia ICE detention facilities who basically accused ICE, the ICE agents there, of kind of essentially forcing a number of unnecessary hysterectomies on the women that were detained there. Obviously, most of those women, if not all of those women, were going to be Latina women. So this is obviously a huge deal. This is absolutely a human rights violation. We can't call it anything other than that. AOC has been calling for the abolishment of ICE since 2018, since her run in 2018. People even before her were calling for the abolishment of ICE. And if there's, we have plenty of reasons to do it already, and this is yet just another one. We need to realize that we can't keep pointing our fingers at other nations for their human rights violations and how terrible all these, quote unquote, terrible all these third world countries are, when we do plenty of this ourselves within our own borders, and then some, really. We have a long history in this country of forced sterilizations on women, especially women of color, especially Latina women. This is something that we've been doing for a long time. Specifically, I'm Puerto Rican, so I think back, to Puerto Rico. I know a little history there about in the I think it was from like 30s all the way to the 70s, about a third of all Puerto Rican women were sterilized.
Wow.
A third. Put that in, if you really think about how high that is, that's 10 times more likely than any white woman from the United States during that same time frame. So, obviously we have a long history. We could have, so there was some concerns back then of population overgrowth and, all the issues that was causing for the economy in Puerto Rico and all that. Obviously, these could potentially have been, just excuses to do it. But they could have given these women just reliable birth control, condoms. I think even the pill was starting to be developed at that time. Yeah. Instead of just forcing permanent sterilization on them. At that time, the procedure was so common, it was just referred to as la operación, just like colloquially, just like how we call the pill today, birth. We know what the pill means. That's how they thought of that, the hysterectomy operation, because the doctors told them it was just kind of like tying the tubes, which sounded like kind of like a reversible procedure. Obviously for men it can be reversible, and they were kind of sold the same thing. So we have a long history of this in the U.S. And this is just yet another example of how terrible ICE is. They just need to go. They need to be abolished immediately.
I think we got to call it what it is. This is just straight up ethnic cleansing. By definition, this is ethnic cleansing. This is beyond the U.S. justice system. This is something that needs to be taken at an international tribunal. It's so blatant and in front of our faces, the absolutely disgusting things that they're doing for people who hear how great this country is and hear how much better their lives can be, that they're leaving the adversity. They're taking their children across probably one of the most difficult terrains in this entire country. And not only that, they're losing their ability to have more children. Their lives, their livelihoods, everything is just being taken away. And we're just shrugging it off because, oh no, I don't know what they look like. It's not me. And it's absolutely abhorrent. It's just people normalize, oh, I would do anything for my kid. If a robber had a gun to my kid's head, I'd say, take me. I'd kill someone for my kid. This is a completely different level of that. This is risking your own life to potentially give your kid the best life that you can imagine, the American dream, if you will. And they're coming into a medical procedure that's being forced upon them. It's disgusting. It's abhorrent, and it's every other synonym in the book. This is beyond what should be the history of the United States.
Yeah, and some of these women actually been here since they were children. Wow. So it's not like it's just somebody just came in yesterday and they're trying to kick them out. These are people that have their whole lives here that might not even speak the language or whatever country they came from. So it makes it even more appalling.
All I was gonna say is this is also more fascist dictatorship stuff. This is another thing that is literally similar to the types of things that Hitler was doing and wanted to do. He wanted to end certain races. This doesn't happen by accident. There's no accident that, if the allegations are true, again, we want to say allegations, that I can't imagine this isn't systemic within that system if it's true. That's not something you don't just accidentally have a bunch of forced sterilizations. It's a human rights violation. And it's just unacceptable. And again, this is more of the reason we talked about how before with kids in cages, Obama had kids in cages and he built the cages and then here, but Obama wasn't forced sterilizing women. There's levels. Yeah. So even as much as I try to attack the Democrats and say, hey, call them out, This is next level. This is they've doubled down on all the worst parts of conservatism, of republicanism, and it's scary what's next. We've given them this like giving them a little bit of rope, and they've run with it.
You guys remember when
give them COVID, separate the parents from their kids, and also make sure those parents never have kids again. I mean,
Izzy, say that one more time. Start it over one more time. Go ahead.
I mean, they're putting them in cages, giving them COVID, separating the parents from their kids, and making sure the parents never have kids again. It's horrific.
You guys remember
in the United States of America?
You guys remember when AOC called the places concentration camps, and like the media went crazy, or certain, I wouldn't say all the media, but there's certain people like, oh, how dare she? This is look at what's going on right now.
No, it's a great point, because David Dole did a video on this topic, and he was very good about pointing out the difference between the way the American media is handling this topic and international media. So, for instance, here we're calling them, ICE detention centers. In Australia, the headline for the article says U.S. concentration camp sent undocumented women to be sterilized, according to whistleblower. So they're calling it as it is. That's exactly what it is. We're putting people in concentration camps, and we're just acting like that's okay and that's legal.
Totally.
Yeah, one point that I wanted to make is like, let's not pretend this is some kind of venerated agency. This only been around since 2003. Right. So we already have Border Patrol. We could get rid of ICE easy.
Yeah.
I think we need to divorce, because ICE has two subsections, for those that don't know. John Oliver actually went really deep into this segment years ago, I think. They have the division that deals with illegal border crossing, and then they have the division that deals with terrorism, like anti-terrorism, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and that sort of thing. And they both get meshed together in a way that makes it just abhorrent. But one of these isn't doing human rights violation. This is sections that need to be divorced and made into two separate agencies, one of which is just immediately dissolved, just one of which is just thrown away, just absolutely just deleted. It's something that doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, Border Patrol. Why can't other agencies do it? Border Patrol, whoever. I mean,
Border Patrol could do one, and then the other one could be part of the FBI, because that's what the FBI sometimes also do. So.
I mean, and conservatives always talking about the overbloated government and too many agencies and blah blah blah. Where look at this, how come they only care about the budget when it's something that's to actually help people?
All right, so everybody, let me know in the comments below what you think about this situation. Do you think that these camps are concentration camps? I think it's no doubt about it. Personally, we all think that when you're literally taking out women's uterus, I mean, that's definitely next level stuff. Let us know what you think below. All right.